Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules. Rule number 1, no touching of the hair or face.
Of course.
And that's it! Now let's do this!
I feel like I should say something smart.
You know him, you love him, you can't get enough of him. It's Dick Liberty and Team All Things American. Powered by Hood News Global, coming to you every Tuesday night at 8. Make sure you check us out. Dick Liberty, live your dream. Follow us.
There we go. What's up, guys? Dick Liberty here. How you doing? What's up, Dilly?
What's up, fellas?
How's your week been, man?
It's been good. It's been good.
Yeah, it's been good. What's been good about your week this week?
Well, the weather's been beautiful, especially for work. I mean, it's just been the past week has been nice all week. So weather's been perfect. This is my favorite time of the year right now.
The past week has definitely been pretty nice, man. So, anything exciting happened to you this week? I know you've got a story to tell for sure.
Well, I saw a big gator today. That was cool.
Yeah, how big was that gator?
It was probably about 8 feet. It was
8
pretty,
feet?
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
That's a good sized gator. Where did you see that thing at, man?
Yeah, when I was working at this new house at the mosaics here, looking out the pond where we're building these new houses, and all of a sudden I look out there. I'm like, man, what is that? It looks like a snake, and no, lo and behold, it was a big ass gator. Is what that was.
Well, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, look, I've had a lot of requests this week, and if you're just tuning in, you didn't see the opener, we'll run here in a little bit, but this week in tonight's show, we're going to be talking about a topic that touches a lot of us veterans here in the nation, actually. I was going to say here in Florida, but I'm going to say in the nation. Not only is it touching vets across the nation, it actually affects some children in youth sports, and it's, I don't know, car accidents. It's a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking about PTSD combined with TBI. Do you have any experience with that or know anything about that, Dilly?
The TBI, no, but the rest of that, yes.
Yes?
PTSD, yes.
Okay. What, if you don't mind sharing, what aspects of the PTSD do you deal with or experience personally?
Definitely would be not sleeping well.
Right.
And definitely some flashbacks.
Okay.
It has gotten better over the past 6 years, but it's a very slow process. You know, we got to figure out our own way to deal with it.
Right.
And obviously, we've talked about this in detail before with drugs, the psychiatric drugs that are pushed upon us, especially through the VA.
Right.
And that's been a very hot topic for us over the past several years. I say years for the situations of the pharmacies and the doctors, and here we are now with you and I have been talking about it over the past year now. What kind of drugs that should be passed out, or what should be used, or whatnot.
Right.
And you know, we all know that cannabis is a big part of your life to help you deal with it.
And it does, man. I will attest wholeheartedly that it has saved my life, 100%. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. And, you know, that's why I'm excited when we talk about these kinds of issues, because I've experienced TBI, I have PTSD, and, you know, a lot of my friends, my personal friends, ones that I just went and seen not even a month ago up in Alabama, he has issues with ABI and TBI and ringing in his ears, tinnitus, and he brought this to my attention. So, Wes, if you're listening, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it, because it was a great tip, and I'm glad you shared it with us. What we're going to be talking about is hyperbolic chamber treatment. And you can find out all about that at treatnow.org, which I went and checked out. It's a great website. It gives you a lot of information there that we're going to talk about tonight. So, with that being said, I want to start the show by letting you know that traumatic brain injury, if you don't know what it is, it's something that severely impacts your brain, and you have some sort of concussive or impact blood clot in a region of your brain. Like for me, an example is the left frontal lobe, and it severs neurons in your brain at the time of incident. So, you know, the TBI, as it's referred to, and I'm going to refer to it from this point forward in the show, is something that you don't always catch right away, and you have a certain time frame and window that you can address the things that you need to address with a TBI to enhance the treatment and the recovery as much as possible. You understand what I'm saying, Dylan?
Absolutely.
Have you heard of hyperbolic chamber treatment?
I have heard of that actually.
What have you heard about it?
I've heard some of these vets that have gone through it for their TBI. What little I do know about the TBI is that it's been very successful.
Right.
And that's about the gist of what I've heard of it. And
Okay.
I physically or personally don't know anybody that has done it.
Right.
But from what I've read and seen on the news and stuff like that about it, just quickly scanning over and listening to it and reading it, it's just it seems like it's been such a positive influence on those vets that have gone through it.
It actually has, and I'm glad you brought up the news because I did a screen recording of a news story I found right here in Florida, actually in Orlando, about a doctor who is providing this free or has provided this free hyperbaric chamber treatment to vets. Two that I'm aware of from the story. It was on Channel 7 story. So there's no audio to it, but you can see as I transition to it, it's gonna start playing here in just a second, and it'll show you basically the story. And what it's saying about this story is that the vets in this story are attesting to this treatment hands over fist. Like they want this treatment more than anything. Here it is, it's popping up on live feed now. So, as Channel 7, I can't take credit for this story, but I wanted to share this story because there are people out there having an impact and making a difference. The important part to me is that the VA currently doesn't offer this as a treatment option to veterans, for their treatment. Like, how does that make you feel, Billy, as a veteran yourself?
That's to me. This is.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to talk about the video real quick. This is a soldier. Okay, he lost both of his legs in combat. His name is Joshua Cope, and he's gone through a recovery, and they started giving him a hyperbaric treatment that this doctor from Orlando, if I'm not mistaken, treated him with. There's another soldier they're showing or going to show you that is now working in a radiology field or some sort of medical field. His name is Brian Schaefer, and he's basically testifying to say the hyperbaric chamber has helped make him better, if not before. Basically, he's saying that it's made him better. It's so close to being as good as he was before, and not better than what he was before.
Yep, that's one of the things I have heard.
Yeah, and what he's sharing in the story here, and what the doctor's illustrating, you'll see, he's out of Orlando, is the neuron connection in the rebuilding in the brain where the injury had taken place. So these guys are testifying, and if you go to treatnow.org, you'll see also a video from a Purple Heart recipient who is a Special Forces member who testifies to this. And you see his wife's testimony, and she testifies to how big of a difference and impact it's made. Now, this procedure, this thing here, typically costs $150 per session. Now, this doctor is giving these sessions for free to these people, to these veterans. And after about 40 treatments, it's not something you're going to see an improvement right away in, but after about 40 to 60 treatments, you start feeling drastically better, drastically more empowered. You have more energy because, are you familiar with hyperbaric chamber and how it works, where it originated from?
From what I know is when divers would go down, deep into the ocean, and then they'd come back up nice and slow, and if they came up too fast, they'd have to get up to the hyperbaric chamber.
Right.
So that's about the gist of what I know about it.
Yeah.
And then now that I've been seeing it more and more on the news, it's definitely it seems like it's going to be a super positive situation for all of our vets that have gotten hurt, got the TBI, whatever
Right.
it is. So
Hey guys, thanks for joining us, Lori. We greatly appreciate it. Good to see you. Thank you, Mary. I'm glad you're liking it so far. But yes, I agree with you. The more we hear about it, and that, it seems to me that it's way more cost effective than dumping a bunch of opioids and pain medicines down these veterans' throats. When the majority of them, like the Brian Schaefer veteran in that video, he basically told the doctor, they don't like to take pills. I don't like to take pills.
No, neither
You
do
don't
I.
like to take pills. We don't like that stuff. It's poison. It's toxin on your body. And you have these natural ways and these alternative ways that are proving to be effective, and the VA can't even offer it. I got a problem with that. I got a big problem with that.
Yeah, we all know that the federally lawed system is so flawed that
Right.
and that's what the VA is going off of, unfortunately, because we all know it's federally funded and
And they made the move to privatize it.
yeah, and this is where I think I'm going to throw Trump's name out there. He's doing a good job of trying to get this process way better
Right.
for all us vets, for sure. You see it almost every day. There's something about the VA and the medical, and not even about the VA. Just even if you're a retiree and you pay for your medical, whatever, you don't have to go to a base. You can go pick a private doctor, but the VA is the biggest part of the situation because the wait times are so long. Some people live 100 miles away from the nearest VA hospital or nearest doctor or whatever. We're fortunate to have a Daytona Beach clinic here in Daytona Beach, and we can go there. But the specialty clinic we have to go to is out in Orlando for our special stuff, like
Right,
your
right.
hearts
And like for a lot of us, that's freaking over an hour away, man.
yeah, say it's about an hour and 15, 20-minute drive from from here, that.
And the other part too is like it's that far away. Some of us are limited in the resources we have for our automobiles, so it makes the trip that much harder on us.
Yeah. I do know that the VA out here at Daytona Beach, they offer shuttles to go out there, but the problem with that is you just don't know how long it's going to take. And
your whole day is pretty much gone from that point forward, the moment you get on that shuttle.
I know personally that I can't just sit there and take a whole day off financially to go to the VA and to spend out there. So I always try to schedule my appointments either super early in the morning or super late in the afternoon. And of course, they don't open till 8. And then their last appointments are usually like 2:30. So I'm still missing a half a day, but
Right.
it's better than missing a full day.
Yeah, that is true, man.
The Orlando VA is, that's top notch. I don't know, that sucker there, it's super nice. And this Daytona Beach, it's an older building, but my experience so far has been pretty awesome.
I've met some pretty good people over there, actually. I can say
Yeah.
that for sure. And I'm gonna switch that up and let you guys know if you guys have something you want to say. Please give us a call. We want to take your calls. We want you to engage in the conversation. We love to hear our listeners and our fans' position on the things that we are talking about. So, give us a call. Let us know. The lines are open. It's 386-682-7278. Now, back to the TBI and the fact that you're right. We have great facilities in the Orlando area. The William Chappelle, it's got good stuff, but it's not my favorite clinic.
It's very limited is the issue.
It is very limited, and that is kind of an issue. And the referral, I don't know. How's your referral luck been?
I haven't had an issue. I mean, anytime I email my main physician, she usually is right on it and she'll refer it out to anything for me. And that's the great thing about my healthy vet is
Right.
that we get to email the doctor. We don't have to. We can place our order for our scripts on there. I've even had
Yeah, I do
the
like
great
that.
thing of like telling her, hey, I'm sick, so she'll send me a what's it called for the pills, like the 7-day
The
antibiotics
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anytime I need a refill, as long as it's not some sort of crazy opioid one, she usually doesn't want to see me.
Right. Right.
But she does like to see me once every 6 months, which I think is a little excessive for me. But I got to do what I got to do to work with her and let her know that I'm good, and she hooks me up.
Cool. All right. Well, I want to get back to the traumatic brain injury now, since we spent a little bit of time on that. It looks like someone might be calling in here soon, so if they call in, we're going to take that call. But the traumatic brain injury, were you aware, or did you know that roughly 1.4 million people sustain a TBI in the U.S. alone every year? and more than
Wow.
5 million people are coping with disabilities from and or related to a traumatic brain injury, to include PTSD. Did you know that?
No, that's crazy.
That is real shit.
I mean, granted, we're 300 million strong roughly here in America, but 1 million, and so you're talking 1.5 or 1.5% of the nation is
That's the ones who receive it
yeah. I was getting ready to say that the ones that
every
actually
year.
Yeah.
And that's only in the United States, okay? That's in the active population sample, which was considered to be greater 45 years of age, less than 45 or greater, and anyone over 75. So basically you fall in that category. Now, some of the statistics on this stuff is like absolutely startling. TBI healthcare cost is roughly $56 billion per year as far as what it costs in healthcare. So that's a ridiculous amount in funding. And that's not even counting all the ones who are getting TBI across the pond and in these different combat environments, some of which you know about, some of which you don't, and the ones who have come back with it and haven't been diagnosed properly, which is the case of my friends. We have a caller coming in. Hang on. Hello, welcome to Dick Liberty. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, this is Dean calling. I'm calling. I'm with James Clark.
Okay, and how can we help you? What do you want to talk about this evening?
I'm just talking about the whole TBI thing. I have TBI and PTSD, and I've never heard of this treatment before.
Okay, you've never heard of hyperbaric treatment before?
I've heard of it just for as vents for divers.
Okay, yes, that's
the extent of it.
Yeah, that's actually what it was initially used for, and I'm going to transition to the clip here. If there's a little audio, give me a second to get it turned down. There we go. Okay. So it's basically, what it does is you go under the pressure, and it's pure oxygen, like 99% oxygen that they give you while you're under that pressure. And it expands and forces the oxygen not just into your lungs, but into your blood vessels.
Yes.
When it forces it into your blood vessels, that helps your blood and your mitochondria in your DNA, the little energy cell in the middle of your muscle cells and stuff like that, the active particle. It creates and kind of revitalizes you in different ways that increase your neurocircular connection, your neurophysiological connection, your neuropsychological connection. It helps with tinnitus in your ears. It basically rejuvenates you from inside out. And it's something that you can accomplish without pushing opioids and toxins into your body to deal with the PTSD and the nightmares and the anxiety and all the shit that you deal with on the daily that people don't recognize or think or classify you as a monster because of their lack of understanding. So that's why I brought it up, and like I said, I brought it up because my friend told me his interest in it, and it's layered way deeper than just TBI and PTSD. So what do you think about that, man?
I think that's absolutely amazing. I mean, I went through getting prescribed pain pills for the VA for 6 years and went through addiction and all that and ended up getting myself off of it, and it sounds like a cure. Like it gives me hope to know that there's something else out there besides opioids and something natural that's not going to just
First off,
me.
I want to say thank you for your service as well, because we always, just because we're vets, I like to thank the other vets that, especially ones that call in. Yeah, we couldn't agree with you more, especially with all the pills that they want to give you, and it's crazy. They throw them at you to where, Aaron, this one, you tell them this one isn't working, so what do? They throw you on a different one. And it's just it drove me up. It drove me up the wall. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, I hated it because they controlled me. It controlled my life.
Yeah.
Did you feel at any
also,
point?
I don't know if Jamie told you, I'm the father that is having a problem with PCS, and
Okay.
they're trying to put something on me because of PTSD.
And how would you describe them trying to put something on you because of PTSD? Like what
We had
makes
an
you?
injury that happened, and I'm sorry, there was
What?
an echo.
Can you tell me the injury? I'm sorry, a little bit echo. Let me turn that down just a touch.
Okay, that's much better.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, he
All
had
right.
a subdermal hematoma bleeding on the brain.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was it? The frontal lobe, the rear lobe? Not the rear lobe, but in the back, or where was it located? Do you remember?
It was on the frontal lobe,
Okay.
left and right frontal lobe.
All right. Wow. So that's kind of like, for those of you who don't understand, your left and your right frontal lobe of your brain actually control different aspects and different neurophysiological connections in your body. So it can change the way that your body functions after you've suffered or sustained a traumatic brain injury, which can lead to depression and which can cause PTSD related to that particular injury or something else. Not to keep interrupting you, but I want to make sure there's a good picture painted for those listening, because there's a epigenetic risk factor for Alzheimer's and for Parkinson's. And basically what that means is it increases the likelihood of you encountering one of those diseases later in your life because of that traumatic brain injury. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I'm so sorry that you're going through all that, or that you are currently going through that, and that you've been going through it, because I know that not only that's compounding the issues of your post-traumatic stress syndrome, because not only did you already feel disconnected from what was going on and you battled your own demons and your addictions, the one thing that actually probably, from my perspective, a little that you said, giving you purpose is the children, and now the children are being taken away from you, so you feel like you're being re-ostracized from your societal circle. Is that about right?
That's absolutely correct.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad I nailed that one. I'd have felt really embarrassed.
Damn, you're psychic. But really, you're not. What it is you've seen it. We've seen it firsthand, and unfortunately, we've seen it more times than not. And I don't understand why these types of situations, everybody throws everything at. Oh, he has PTSD. He has this. He has that. It's like
they try to demonize it, and like I understand it, but I don't understand it. And I say that because it's no different than the racial literacy topic. It's a question of literacy and understanding about what that person has gone through. And the doctor, 9 times out of 10, the doctor doesn't know what the fuck you're going through. He's reading a book, and you know as well as I do, you've been in any sense of combat, a book is a guideline at best. You know what I mean? Like, you got your fundamentals, but the way the shit changes and the landscape changes on the battlefield, it's exactly, you follow the fundamentals and you modify as you have to. That's all there is to it. You try not to, but if you got to, you got to.
Exactly, and they want to try to say that because my PTSD that I snapped and injured a child that I love and take care of every single day of my life.
Huh. And like, what made them think that specifically? Like, what was the circumstance of the injury in the child to make
my
that
girlfriend's
conclusion
here with
be?
me. She's the mother of a child that had the injury.
Okay, so what had happened is my son got a subdural hematoma, and they did a bunch of tests down at Riley Hospital, and out of the conclusion, they came out to say that my son had been abused, when in all reality, we thought that it was an accident from when I had fell with him in the shower.
Oh,
well, since he was, my boyfriend Dino, he was at home with my son when he began to have a seizure. And since that was the case, then they automatically came after his PTSD because that was a reason for snapping, apparently.
And did you actually snap, sir?
No.
No?
I have no triggers or snapping or any kind of aggression or anger like that from my PTSD.
Okay. You're very lucky then, I'll tell you that.
yes.
Because I don't go through the day happy all the time. I know that, but I have managed to implement a way of keeping myself in the appropriate levels of checks and balances. Like
Absolutely.
walking the beach and, getting creative with the show. How can I help someone else? I try and focus my energy differently so that.
What about your morning coffee?
My morning coffee does help. Okay. But hey, I'm sorry that because to me it sounds like you're being demonized because of your PTSD, and that is definitely a hard uphill battle. I know that Dilly is a little more familiar in some of this knowledge in the VSO section than I am, and maybe he can add some to a solution that could potentially help you. What do you think, Dilly?
Hey, Dino, I've never had the PTSD thrown in my face by my ex. If she doesn't know that I have it, or put it this way, I haven't told her. But my children are kept from me. It's gotten a lot better now. But anyway, as going through the veterans, I applied for a veteran service officer job here in Daytona Beach, and so this is where my education is going to kick in a little bit, and to where I think do you have what's called a how long have you been out?
I've been out for 7 years now.
Okay, and you served over in Iraq, I'm assuming, or Afghanistan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now did you do you still have a case manager with the VA?
Yes.
You still do? Okay, because I was told it's only supposed to be 5 years once like I retired from the Marine Corps, but I was told you're only supposed to have them for 5 years. But I think that there's extenuating circumstances, and I think that if you go talk to have you talked to your case manager about this by any chance?
No, I have not actually.
My case manager, Mr. Reed, here in the Daytona Beach VA, he is absolutely phenomenal. Right now, I'm an electrician, and it's a very physical and demanding job, and I love it. I really do love it, but it's very demanding. So it keeps my mind occupied 8 hours out of the day because it makes you think. You're playing with electricity, you don't want to get hit with it. So my point to that is it keeps me a little more under wraps and in control a little bit. And this is where we were talking about the snapping. We all have our bad days. Everybody has a bad day. As long as you can limit those and stay positive in your life, I think that these situations will work in your favor. And keeping in contact with your case manager on situations like this, they have so many resources that you can. I don't know if you've ever used his resource or his or her resource.
Yeah,
you might want to reach out to your case
network that Billy is referencing right now is just absolutely extensive. All you got to do is ask, man. Like the worst you're gonna say is no, and then when they say no, you can figure out another way to do it. You know as well as I do, or anybody else who's served in the military. There's always another way. You just gotta find it. You just gotta find it, bro.
And put it this way: that my case manager has given me so many options for new careers because he knows how. He doesn't think that I'm miserable with what I'm doing right now, but he knows that I'm not 100% happy because of the physicality of my situation at the job. And with that being said, I have 2 interviews, May 16th and May 17th. What's that?
I was just thinking of the comment.
Yeah. And one of them is for a veteran service officer position to help other veterans. And the other one is with the TSA.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm torn between the two. TSA, Transportation Safety Authority, out at the airport, where, scanning everybody's items, going through the metal detector, stuff like that. Both great careers. These aren't jobs; these are careers. And
that's like a second retirement, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they both are. Have second retirements, and this is where I refer back to your case manager. Reach out and ask the questions. Do you use My Healthy Vet?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever used the secure messaging on My Healthy Vet?
Use what?
Have you ever used the secure messaging portal on My Healthy Vet? It's basically you can.
No, I have not.
Well, you need to, man. It's a tool that, like, I can log in right now, email my doc, tell them the situation, I'll get an answer in 24 hours.
Absolutely.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah.
Well, how do you? Well, you have been out for a while, and a lot has changed since you've been out the past 7 years. But I'm glad that we're able to kind of update you on what's going on, man.
I swear by my healthy bet. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It'll save you appointments. It'll save you the frustration of going to the VA. It'll save you. You can email your doctors, your case manager. You can even email a counselor. You can email, say, hey, I'm having frustrations with this, that, and this, and that way you don't have to go to the VA. And I don't know how yours is and how long the lines are and the wait times and everything else, but the ones here in Daytona Beach, it's a pretty small facility. I haven't had any bad situations with it. The Orlando one, it's a big beautiful building. I haven't had any bad situations with it, but
No, I haven't either. I've had a lot of.
where are you located? Are you located there in Indianapolis as well?
Yeah, I'm near Indianapolis. I'm actually from Ohio, and I went to Dayton, VA.
Okay, so now do you live in Indianapolis or you live in Dayton?
I live near Indianapolis.
Okay, because that's actually where I'm from. I'm from Brownsburg on the west side, but yes, so I know about that Indianapolis VA, and I was the case managers up there on I think it's the 5th floor, the OEF and OIF floor. It's actually a floor. They were super, man. I mean, I'm talking. They were great, and my transition from Indianapolis to here was so phenomenal. They passed on everything to my doctors here. The Indianapolis one is relatively new too, and I didn't have any issues there. So my thing to you is you said you do have a case manager there in Indianapolis?
No, I live in Dayton. I need to transfer to Indianapolis.
Yeah, you do, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to get on the horn tomorrow. You need to get on them and say, hey, talk to your case manager there in Dayton and say, hey, can you transfer everything over here? And what my case manager did up in Indianapolis is they emailed my case manager here before I even moved down here a week before and gave all the info, and immediately I got an appointment within 2 weeks. I went and met my case manager, and holy cow, you want to talk about a smooth transition. Yes, do you have to stay on top of it? Absolutely. If you don't stay on top of it, you're going to get frustrated.
Because yes, you will, and you'll get put on the back burner too.
Exactly.
Because the doctors won't take you seriously. A lot of people, I think, forget that in a sense, and when they make the appointments, they book the appointments, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then they forget, and that's understandable, but they don't have a system in play to make sure they make it to that appointment, because the more you blow them off, it's not that they're blowing you off on purpose, but naturally, and I think you could attest to this, Dilly, you're kind of going to be like, oh, that guy, I'm going to put him on, yeah, whatever. I'll get to him. Because it's no different than when you're doing something and you're counting on people to help you with that situation and to help you do that, and they never help you or they never show up. You kind of change how much you do for them, right?
Yes, that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
My other big advice to you is, just because your case manager may not have the answer that you want to hear, all you got to do is ask them to ask their friends, the other case managers. There's just not one. They're probably going to have, depending on, Indianapolis is big, so they probably have 8 to 10 case managers, if not more.
Yeah, there's like 2 per region, if I'm not mistaken.
So you may get frustrated with the first situation, but guess what? What do we do as vets? What do we do as military members? We keep putting our one foot right in front of the other and keep marching forward, right?
And we adapt, improvise, and overcome.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
That's a critical skill that you should not forget that you have. There's a lot of assets that you have, that a lot of people have, that they often overlook because they're intangible assets. When I say asset, the first thing you probably think of is cash. I think of an asset as creativity, ingenuity. I can be a tactician just as effectively in the civilian world as I could in the military world, because I apply the same principles just to different situations. You know what I'm saying? If you think in the same mindset as if you're going on a mission, you're getting the mission, you're feeding that piece of you that doesn't want to let it go, but you're feeding it in a positive manner that helps you get a lot of crap done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what can we, like, I think what we should do is, you should call this number again tomorrow when we're not on air, and I'll get a lot more detail from you, and Dilly and I will sit down, we'll look at it, and we'll see what advice we can give you to get you to, one, get you re-vetted and into the system so that you got a case manager and you got the help and you know, the resources you need. And two, we can develop a plan and do like some monthly check-ins or progress plans to see how much we can actually get accomplished. What do you think, man?
That sounds great.
All right. Well, dude, I gotta say thank you very much for calling in. I'm sure Dilly wants to say goodbye to you.
I do.
Go ahead, Dilly.
I like I said before, I'm a little torn between doing a VSO or a TSA. That's why I can't wait for this interview. And one reason why I'm thinking about doing the VSO, the Veteran Service Officer, is this reason right here. It's such satisfaction to give you this kind of info and share it with Dick, and we can keep passing this forward. And I hope that you take this knowledge and put these tools in your toolbox.
And this is another way to build a bridge of unity, by the way.
Exactly.
Not to interrupt you.
And I was getting ready to say that. You know, as vets, we have to keep each other in check and help each other out. We can't. My words got lost there because helping each other out is just such a wonderful thing, and that's the reason why I really, if I get a job offer from the VSO, I don't know how I'm going to say no to it. If there's a better opportunity at TSA. Right. So, right. But anyway, Dino, it's been great talking to you, and I hope that your situation gets moved forward. My first thing to you is get a hold of your coordinator over there in Dayton and have them transfer your info to Indianapolis, because the resources there resources from those people are abundant. So, and they know a lot of people.
They do, and not just in the location they get at, because you got to think, they, just like you, served in a bunch of different locations under that federal job. You know, so they do know a lot of people that they might be able to connect you with in resource department that will be beneficial. So hopefully that helps, and we will definitely talk to you tomorrow. How's that sound, man?
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Hey, no worries, man. Rest easy, and you have a good night. Thanks for calling.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, you heard that. It was a great call, and thank you for calling in. Thank you, Jamie, for having your friends call in. I'm glad that you like what we had to say, and I hope that we can. I know that we're going to be able to give them a good hand tomorrow after we get a little more conversation in. So, we got Wildebeest in the house.
There he is.
Hello.
I got a transition in here.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, there's your mic. There it is. How you doing, man? How was your week?
Good. It's busy so far.
Yeah, with what? Pools?
Cleaning pools, helping a friend move.
I see you got a little tan working, man.
Yeah, because I'm in the sun all damn day. It's been nice though. I can't complain. It's been beautiful this week.
I don't know if you heard us a little bit ago. I've been working at this house that has this huge. It's a lake. It's more than a pond. A little 8-foot alligator just swimming by, just chilling. And I was like, that's cool. This is why I like this job, and for these situations right here. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the weather's been nice. That's what was.
Alligators, snakes, any animal.
Oh wow. You see any cougars or bears or anything?
In the pools.
In the pools.
Huh? No, never seen any of those in the pools.
Well, since you're just joining us, man, we're talking about veterans who have PTSD and TBI, okay? And some of the statistics are startling with this. Like, for example, 100 per 100,000 people is how many it affects in the U.S., and out of that, there's 52,000 annual deaths with TBI. And the highest incident rate is from the age bracket 15 to 24, okay? So, anybody have any idea or guess why we're in that age bracket? Should I have Jeopardy music right there? Or what?
I'm guessing that's where the most accidents are.
Well, yes. One is the most accidents. Two, what is the average age of the person who enters into the military?
Oh, 17,
18,
19.
17, 19, right?
Yeah.
And what's the first thing to do when you get out of boot camp?
You're going
Yeah.
go straight to straight to training, and then you're off to wherever they want to send you, aka Afghanistan, Iraq. Whatever. It all depends. Yeah.
It all depends, but typically it's involving something like that. Not only that,
Yep.
but you also have your can you hit the trans- You also have your high school students and your college athletes, and now your football players. Like, this isn't just a national phenomenon, a national issue. This is a global issue. It's a global issue. Like, there's been studies in Europe and everywhere else that's been released. Epidemiological data estimated that the TBI incidents and hospitalizations that are fatal are 235 per 100,000 per year, and a case fatality rate of 11 per 100 a year, with 775,000 new cases upcoming each and every year. In addition, we've already talked about how it's the risk for Alzheimer's and it adds risk for Parkinson. We've talked about, the active age population sample. We've talked about, the 15 to 24-year-olds and the college students and motorcycle accidents, car accidents, even child abuse, domestic abuse, altercations at the bar because you and your buddies are too damn drunk and you get in a fight over something stupid, because someone hits on your girl. Take it as a compliment, you retard.
Hey,
I don't know why you gotta get so mad about that.
what about, do y'all know about Aaron Hernandez, the professional football player who he killed himself in prison earlier this year?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. He hung himself, if I'm not mistaken,
And
right?
he was in there for murder because he went crazy when they did an autopsy on him. Supposedly they found that he had all kinds of brain
Yeah.
injuries that probably led to his crazy behavior.
Well,
He was really young too. He was only about 24, I believe.
Yeah, it all stemmed back from when he was playing football. Even as a little kid, they were even saying that's why you see all these, like Pop Warner football. They have all these extra pads in their helmets now. And then they got these. Then they go into high school and they're getting concussions, and then they go into college football and they're getting concussions, and then they get in the pros, and holy cow, that's just it's a whole different speed.
yeah, everything goes to shit.
So it's he killed 3 people, or was convicted of at least one. He got life in prison, and then he hung himself. So
Yeah, they said he was all his brain was just scrambled.
yeah, I
Right,
bet.
right.
But that's what you see all these old football players now. The pro football players. They're starting to do more autopsies on them as they're passing away. The ones that make it to 70. A lot of these guys don't even make it to 70. They're because their brains are so fucked up.
And boxers too.
Yeah, boxers. These MMA fighters again. They're gonna be the same way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at. Sorry about that. Look at Ali, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I was
Look at
gonna
the way
say,
he turned
yeah.
out. When you get that punch drunk, the punch drunk.
Yeah,
what do they call it?
totally.
Syndrome. Because of all that compression and all that stuff that's happened, and the impacts, both not only directly, but like, have you ever been blasted by IED or in the vicinity of an IED?
I haven't. No.
Okay. So when you go through or feel an IED blast, it's basically, depending on the radius in which the explosion occurs, depends on the amount and type of concussion that you can receive from overhead pressure and back pressure and all that stuff. So it depends on the situation. Okay, but when you're exposed to that, you not only get like an impact blast, but you get a secondary concussive blast that is pretty big. So it might not hit you directly. The point of what I'm getting at is it might not hit you directly, but you will have secondary, kind of like aftershocks in an earthquake. You have that initial earthquake, and you have the aftershocks that shoot out. They're not as high a magnitude, but they still have an impact on you overall. So if you don't sustain an initial TBI, you can also have an acquired brain injury. Is something else that is prevalent, especially in the older community and some of the older vets and the vets who've been there. All vets basically, like, because they've been around, they didn't get that direct hit, but they've been around 12 or 13 or 14 or 15 or 25 grenades on every DA mission that they do, which stands for direct action. It's a type of tactic. So you feeling a concussion or a secondary concussion from all of those blasts while you do these things. So it has an impact on you.
Let's say the biggest thing I ever had to deal with that, we were doing a training mission in Australia. We were watching live fire. I mean, actually, the jets coming in, dropping in live bombs, a 2,000-pounder.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get any closer than a mile away anyway. You were there. And when that 2,000-pounder hit that ground, you could feel the initial weight of that sucker, and then boom!
And then you had that pause, and then you feel it.
It was nuts. It was like slow motion. It was pretty sweet.
Right.
If you were if you're within 500 meters of that sucker, you're done. I mean,
you're toast.
Yeah, you're incinerated immediately. So
you ever seen a Hellfire?
I have not seen a Hellfire.
Man, that is fucking impressive. If you haven't seen a Hellfire, you should YouTube it. It's pretty damn impressive.
I mean, on TV, I thought you meant live, but yeah, on TV.
Oh no, I mean I've seen it live, but
I kind of figured you had.
It's not as impressive after you've seen it live on YouTube. But if you've never seen it and you've seen it on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, yeah.
So there's something else that we want to talk about. Well, it's not really something else. It's part of the TBI thing, and it leads up to the fact that, in my opinion, I think that the VA should cover this. Like I said, they don't cover the effective treatments. They don't. It's hard to get them. They won't cover stem cell. They always refer you to clinical trials. They all go look at the clinical trials website. This is what they're doing. And yeah, that's well and good, but I want my doctor to fix me. I don't want to have to go through, it's enough process we have to go through to see you and not get consistent care, but to, with the referrals and the way the whole system's set up, like it's still a process to keep your care good and up to date to some extent. So when you bring these things to them, because like I've made many recommendations to different doctors throughout my course. Like, I want to try growth hormone because I've heard that recreates and rejuvenates your nerve sheathings and helps beat your neuropathy and will help reconnect your neurons and your neuroplasm in your brain. Doctors say no. I've seen TED Talks about it, and I think the TED Talks is a pretty good source when you do your research and you find it, So, I want to do this hyperbaric chamber because I'm wondering how much is that going to benefit me?
Absolutely, why not?
How much is going to help me physically? How much is going to help me mentally? How much is going to help me deal with some of these issues that I deal with the PTSD and with the cognitive issues that come along with the TBI? Like, are you aware of any of the cognitive issues?
Not me personally, no, I don't know.
Okay. So, a cognitive issue with TBI, and something that's been in my case in particular, is that there's an impact on your cognitive ability to maintain memories. Like, you lose a lot of memory, and then it's often characterized by less significant memories that you can remember and partial inabilities to make new memories. So, like, you'll either have really less specific or a loss of specific memory, and you can have new memories, but they don't always stick, and it creates the inability to keep those new ones, which is really, really frustrating.
I can imagine.
So about my memory loss, and I had it for like a year. I had to write a book every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And I had to write who everybody was and where I was, and I still fuck it up. Okay? So if this is something that could help me in, increase my cognitive function and my ability to remember shit, I'm all about it. 150 of treatment is less than, how much is your average opioid prescription? Huh? How much is it to get like some, what's good and hot now? Fentanyl and I don't even know what the fuck it's called. Demerol?
I don't even.
Adderall, Percocet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Willoughby's knows.
I've heard of it.
You heard of it?
I've heard of it. I don't think it costs that much because insurance pays for that. They push that on everybody. You know, that's what they want you to take, but then all that does is like it doesn't cure the problem. It just masks the symptoms. You know, but that's what they push on you. They tried to push that shit on me for my back problems I have.
Right.
And
right.
I don't like taking that stuff because I have a history with that kind of stuff, so I don't take it. So
Right.
I go to a chiropractor now, but insurance doesn't want to pay for a chiropractor.
No.
They want to pay for you to get on the opioids and end up getting hooked on that shit. And you know, I mean, they don't want to pay for a chiropractor, which actually has done wonders for my back.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
See, chiropractor, man, that shit jacked me up, bro.
Oh yeah. Well, he jacks me up every day, and I mean not every day.
Oh, you're getting like, oh yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
jacked up.
But no, I love it. I guess it works for some people, you know.
Right.
I
right.
But it's
I
still
like
better than
chiropractor.
taking pain pills, you know?
Yeah.
Who wants to do that shit every day?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely better than taking pain pills.
Yes.
So, you know, to keep this thing going, one last piece I'm going to talk about is the Arizona legislature has approved the hyperbaric oxygen treatment program for veterans. So basically what I'm telling you is like there's hope for us, and I think if we followed similar patterns here, let's say in Florida or wherever you may happen to be listening to us, Dick Liberty, powered by Hood News Global, and Dickadilly, like this is showing us, hey, this is not that hard to do. They passed it in Arizona. It was a bill sponsored by Mark Finchman. Apologies if I mispronounced your name. TBI. He's a Republican. Okay, and he is the vice chairman of the Military, Veterans, and Regulatory Affairs Committee. So this bill is the culmination of a 3-year public comment and professional input to get our veterans access to the recuperative treatment that has been not only delivered with remarkable results, but has not been provided by or paid for by the VA. And so, obviously, he believes it needs to change. And if we can have a good impact and this can be authorized, or, you know, if we're privatizing, this should be a part of our Veterans Choice option.
I
Do you agree?
hope so. Yeah, absolutely.
Because not only that, it can help your neuropathy. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes. Because it like I said, it forces that oxygen down into your blood at the deepest level at 99%. And guess what? 99% of the germs can't live in 99% oxygen. So it is rejuvenating you. It's helping you reconnect and regrow those neurons. I think it's a great thing. I'm really excited about it. I hope I can be a part of it. I might actually even go see that doctor in Orlando. You know what I
Why
mean?
not? Give them a shout. See what happens.
Yeah, hell yeah. So what's coming up there in Ormond Beach and up your way, Brett? You got anything coming up there?
Yeah, this weekend we got roller derby.
Roller derby!
Roller derby.
yeah.
Yep, on Sunday night at 6 o'clock.
At
the
6
doors
o'clock.
open. And
All
that's
right.
at the Skate and Shake Center on US 1 in Ormond. And I believe it costs a few dollars to get in, but it's well worth it. You can bring the whole family. It's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, man. Well, what time? You said 6?
Yep, the doors open at 6, and I think the action starts at 6:30.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that update. We're going to go ahead and take a short music break. We'll be about 20 minutes, and then we'll come back on here. We'll talk about a little dilly daff and what's grinding the gears and all that fun stuff in the past week. We hope that you enjoyed our informational... Oh, we just had a comment. Yes, I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Diana Griffin, for bringing it up. You can get a TBI as a result of a stroke. There's actually an excellent TED Talk about it. I'll have to look that up and put it on the website. I'll post it on Facebook so you guys can check it out. And it's about a neuroscientist who actually had a stroke and describes her transformative experience throughout the stroke process and her ability and how she's overcome it. It's an amazing TED Talk. I listened to it probably, 40 times during my recovery from my own traumatic brain injury because it inspired me that much, and it's definitely worth a check out. So I'll get that posted up on Facebook tomorrow sometime, and I'll let everybody know and tag people when it happens. So on that note, thanks for tuning in. You got anything to say?
Yeah, I want to ask Brett a question. Did you get your sponsor on that ass yet?
Oh shit!
No.
Bids for butts. Are we actually gonna do that?
They do have that program. If y'all don't know what it is, the Beachside Brawlers Roller Derby. You can get your ad on a butt.
Yeah, the bids for butts.
And everyone's looking at the butts during the roller derby, so it's a great spot to advertise.
If you really wanted to play a prank, you'd put Brett's butt on one of the girls. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Funny for them.
Funny for them. I bet you'd be cleaning all the pools, my man. All the pools.
Oh, I already do.
Already do. All right. Well, hey, Diane, you are absolutely right. The chamber would be mutually and equally beneficial in the stroke patients. So I'm glad you brought that up. Again, so thank you guys for listening and tuning in so far. We're going to go ahead and go to some music, and we're going to play one of our favorite songs here. Hope you enjoy, and we'll be back in about 20 minutes. Big Liberty, all things American. Living a dream.